Okay, let's unpack this. You've handed us quite a stack of sources here, covering some really fascinating ground, advanced training methods, and, the tech that's bringing them to more people.
Yeah, there's a deep dive into things like eccentric, isometric, isokinetic training, but also blood flow restriction, EMS, HIIT, even breath work.
Exactly. So think of this as your shortcut to getting a handle on these cutting edge approaches.
Our mission, really, is to pull out the key insights from all this material. What works, why it works, what's surprising.
And what it might mean for you, whether you're thinking about injury prevention, muscle growth, faster recovery, or just, better overall health at a cellular level.
Right. Getting you well-informed, quickly, ready.
Let's do it. So maybe we start with the real fundamentals. The sources spend a good bit of time on just how muscles contract,
Makes sense. Okay, so first you've got concentric contraction. That's the one everyone knows muscle shortens under load.
like lifting a weight up in a bicep curl,
Exactly, the lifting part.
Yeah.
Then there's eccentric.
which is the lowering phase of that curl, right? Muscle lengthening, but still under load.
Precisely. And the sources really hammer this point. The eccentric phase is so often underrated, maybe even ignored in standard training.
Why is that lengthening part so important then?
Well, a couple big reasons. First, the muscle can actually generate more force eccentrically. And second, it leads to the biggest increases in muscle fiber length.
So stronger and more flexible, essentially.
Yeah, improves flexibility by actually lengthening the muscle under load,
Hmm.
which is different than just passive stretching. And it builds resilience in connective tissues.
So that's the injury prevention angle.
Absolutely. Things like tendinitis, tendinopathy often caused by imbalances where people only focus on the lifting part. Eccentric training is like the go-to therapy for tendinopathy, according to these sources.
I saw a stat about hamstring injury.
Yeah, one study showed a 70% reduction in soccer players. It's powerful stuff for building that tissue resilience.
And the benefits seem really broad: strength, muscle growth, flexibility, better metabolic function.
Right. Improved blood sugar, fat reduction. And crucially, this isn't just for elite athletes. The research spans decades and shows benefits for pretty much everyone.
There was a really interesting example about using low loads,
Oh
too.
yeah, that one jumped out. Using just 10% of someone's max strength, barely any weight.
Seems like it wouldn't do much.
You'd think. But the study had people doing just 5 sets of 6 reps, lowering slowly over 3 seconds, only twice a week.
And the results.
Pretty staggering, actually. Significant gains in isometric strength, like 13 to 30%, and concentric strength, 16 to 37%. Even muscle thickness increased about 4%.
Wow. So controlling that slow lowering, even with lightweight, has huge carryover.
It really shows the power of that eccentric phase and how the effects accumulate. Okay, so next up, isometrics.
Right. Force without the muscle changing length, holding something heavy, pushing a wall.
And the sources break it down. You've got yielding isometrics.
That's holding weight steady, matching the force exactly.
Yeah, precisely preventing movement. Good for tracking progress by adding weight, but can get risky if it's super heavy.
And the other kind.
Overcoming isometrics. Pushing or pulling against something that just won't budge, like that wall or maybe fixed chains. You can often generate more force this way because the object isn't the limit.
This stuff has history, right? Not just a modern fad.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Centuries old. Martial arts, yoga. You hear about old-time strongmen like Ugin Sandow, Alexander Zast.
The guy who supposedly bent prison bars?
That's the legend. Training with chains.
Mm.
Bruce Lee used isometrics. Harry Wong. Concepts integrated by people like Steve Maxwell more recently.
And still relevant for athletes now.
Definitely. Studies show a good link between isometric strength and dynamic stuff like explosive power. Think grapplers holding a position or the start of a sprint.
Okay, so this is where modern tech comes in, tackling those old problems like tracking progress or getting that loading reflex.
Exactly, like the iso chain. It's basically a modern take on the chain and bar, but it has a digital force meter right in the handle.
So you see exactly how hard you're pulling in real time.
Right, pounds or kilos. And crucially, it has a spring mechanism. That little bit of give provides that loading reflex, tells your nervous system to fire up more motor units. Makes it more effective than just pushing a dead solid object.
Better feedback, better activation. The app guides you, tracks progress, claims some big gains in just 10 minutes a day.
It brings measurement and precision to a very old technique.
Then there's the isokinator, pocket-sized German thing.
Right.
Looks interesting. But the sources say it's actually isokinetic.
Yeah, that's an important distinction. You are moving through a range of motion with it, but the key is maintaining constant tension. You control the resistance using those golden balls in the display.
Okay.
But what makes it isokinetic is that the device itself adapts. It senses your max strength at every point and automatically sets resistance to about 70% of that, all the way through the movement.
Ah, so the device ensures constant optimal resistance while you move, unlike weights where tension varies.
Exactly. Constant tension, optimal load, full range of motion. That's why it can be so time efficient. The sources mention 20-25 minutes every other day for a full workout.
And cited a study showing circumference gains.
Yeah, after just 36 sessions. It's durable too, portable. Quite a clever design.
Sort of bridges static holds and dynamic movement.
And we saw other portable things too, like the IsoBow and IsoFlow from Bulwarker, offering that mix of isometric, dynamic, even stretching.
Okay, so that brings us formally to isokinetic exercise. Constant speed this time, regardless of force, needs special equipment.
Right. You see this a lot with high-level athletes or in physical therapy. The controlled speed makes it super safe for rehab after injuries or surgery, helps fix muscle imbalances.
Benefits seem wide-ranging.
Uh,
Muscle tone, strength, endurance, balance, coordination, even mentions cognitive function.
yeah, studies show it works well for knee rehab, osteoarthritis, improving results for people with obesity alongside aerobic work. The value is that consistent effort and control over speed and resistance.
And this is another area where tech is really, pushing things forward.
For sure. Systems using motors or digital resistance to get that precision. ARX is one, adaptive resistance.
They claim a full workout in just 6 minutes.
Yeah, the idea is maximum efficiency by making sure you're always working against the perfect resistance for you at that moment, tracking force, time under tension.
Tonal similar, with digital weight up to 200 pounds. Personalized, adapting resistance, form feedback.
Right, even an automatic spotter that reduces weight if you struggle. It's about that dynamic, adaptive load.
Vitruvian 2 digital resistance again reads your capability instantly, acts like a spotter.
And that adaptive tech is huge because it lets you do true eccentric overload safely, even alone. The machine handles lowering more weight than you lifted. Dr. Nuzzo from Vitruvian endorses it for effective, shorter workouts.
Then there's exerbotics, focusing on isovelocity for accurate force measurement and training based on your capability.
Again, that theme. Precision, measurement, adapting to the user in real time.
For pure speed development, fast-twitch isokinetics seemed specialized.
Definitely. Designed to train fast-twitch fibers at high speeds against resistance, but without the joint stress or soreness.
So you can train closer to competition speeds safely.
That's the idea. Enhancing those neuromuscular pathways for speed. They have machines for specific movements, like a squat machine for plyos against resistance without joint load, and even a bidirectional rower with isokinetic resistance. Elite stuff, but safe for wider use.
And flywheel training. K-box, K-pulley.
Right, using inertia instead of gravity. Creates variable resistance. The harder you accelerate it, the harder it resists on the way back. Also great for eccentric overload. Effective, often more portable.
It's incredible how tech is refining these core ideas. It's not just lifting weights anymore, it's intelligent resistance.
Exactly. Resistance that learns and adapts to you.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. Let's look at methods aimed more directly at boosting performance and recovery, like blood flow restriction, KTSE.
Right, KTT. Developed in Japan. Uses these automated cuffs on your arms or legs that inflate and deflate.
How does restricting blood flow actually help, though? Sounds
Yeah.
weird.
Well, it's not cutting it off completely. It restricts the blood flowing out more than the blood flowing in. So even with light exercise, metabolites like lactic acid build up really quickly in the muscle.
Okay.
And that mimics the signals your body gets from a really intense workout. Triggers a systemic response release of growth hormone, testosterone, other anabolic factors.
Ah, so you trick the body into thinking it worked harder than it did, getting some hormonal benefits without the heavy load.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very time efficient, low effort, presented as safe and precise, good for recovery, rehab, performance enhancement. The sources mention the app for guidance, making it accessible. It's clever biomimicry.
Fascinating. Okay, next up, electrical muscle stimulation, EMS. We see small units, but the sources talk full body systems.
Right. EMS uses low-frequency pulses via electrodes to make muscles contract. Can be passive for rehab, but the focus here is often active, full-body training you contract voluntarily while the suit stimulates you.
And that ramps up muscle activation significantly.
Claims are pretty high, like engaging up to 90% of fibers in major muscle groups all at once.
Yeah.
Way more than you typically get voluntarily. Helps hit deep muscles, correct imbalances, train whole movements together.
Sounds intense. Is it safe having electricity applied like that?
The sources stress safety when used correctly. Big plus is minimal external load, so less joint wear. The specific electrical parameters target skeletal muscle, not the heart or organs. Electricity takes the easiest path, skin, fat, then muscle, so the voltage reaching the muscle is lower.
Got it. Targets the right stuff. And the tech is getting more wearable.
Definitely. Moving beyond just studios, we saw Catalyst aiming for broad use. Hyperbody, a compression suit with dry electrodes for easy movement, good for core. iMotion's BioJacket, even wireless for group potential. Antelope, a mobile suit. LNX, positioning is pro level for everyone. Vision Body, app-controlled programs.
The trend seems to be amplifying your own effort electrically for a more intense, efficient workout without the joint strain.
That's the core idea, yeah.
Yeah.
Using electricity to unlock muscle engagement potential.
All right, let's switch to speed, endurance, overall fitness, starting with HIIT, high-intensity interval training. Everyone's heard of it.
Right. Short, intense bursts, 80–95% max heart rate, followed by easier recovery periods. Super adaptable.
Bikes, treadmills, body weight. And the big sell is efficiency, right?
Efficiency is huge, yeah. But the benefits go way deeper, according to these sources. Better cardio health, cholesterol, insulin sensitivity, fat loss, especially that tricky visceral fat, and helps maintain muscle even if you're less active.
And the cellular and brain stuff was really compelling.
Oh yeah, that's where it gets exciting. A study mentioned found HIIT was particularly good at fighting cellular aging by boosting mitochondrial protein production, better than other types of exercise in that study.
Wow, actually slowing aging at the cellular level.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
And it triggers a good release of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor.
That's the miracle grow for the brain stuff.
Exactly. Protects nerve cells, helps with learning, memory, maybe even appetite regulation.
So quick workouts, good for the heart, metabolism, and cells and brain. Seems like a winning combo.
It's a powerful package.
Yeah.
And Dr. Kenneth J., cited in the material, really emphasizes getting enough cardio, and HII is a great way to do it efficiently. He warns against only doing strength work.
Makes sense. Need that engine. Now, some tech aims to amplify HIIT. Vasper. Compression, cooling, intervals.
Yeah, Vasper uses compression like cat token to build lactic acid fast, trigger hormones, activate fast twitch fibers, but combines it with intervals and cooling.
Cooling during the workout.
Targeted cooling, yeah. Concentrates blood with compression, then cools it to keep oxygen levels high. Makes it more efficient, less fatigue, less sweat, better recovery hormones, mimics high intensity with low impact, good for athletes in season, or rehab. Lots of research cited.
Another smart biomimicry approach.
And related, just focusing on cooling for performance. The CoolMet.
Cooling just the palms, soles of feet, face.
Right, those special glabrous skin areas with the AVAs, arteriovenous anastomosis. Super efficient for heat exchange. Cooling blood there and sending it back to the core delays fatigue boosts performance dramatically.
The numbers were huge, like over 100% strength increase.
Yeah, or 40-something% endurance. The Huberman Lab reference explains the science how Palmar cooling beats other methods, even some substances, for boosting endurance and strength by managing core temperature. Very targeted.
Fascinating physiology. Okay, then we have the classic cardio machines. Concept 2 rower, ski erg, bike erg.
The workhorses. Solid, reliable, full-body, low-impact flywheel resistance.
And the Carol bike takes efficiency even further with rehit.
Reduced exertion HID. The workout is incredibly short, like under 9 minutes total, which is 2 20-second maximal sprints.
40 seconds of actual hard work. That's it.
The idea is those super intense sprints trigger a massive glycogen release, signaling the body to adapt fast. The bike uses AI to find your true max intensity and applies resistance automatically. Claims bigger benefits in way less time than traditional HIIT.
Maximum stimulus, minimum time. Very focused.
Boiling it right down.
We also saw vertical climbers, Jacob's ladder, Versa climber CLMBR, full body, low impact.
Yeah, climbing engages tons of muscle, great for cardio.
And whole body vibration, WBV, standing on a platform.
Enhances stretching, strength, power. Studies show gains in bone density, muscle strength, metabolism.
And the Exervibe climber combines WBV with movement.
Right. Vibration through hand grips, seat, pedals, not just the feet. Claims more effective total body stimulation muscles contracting and relaxing super fast, up to 30 times a second, activating multiple groups. More versatile than just standing there.
Tech is really finding ways to deliver stimulus precisely and efficiently.
Definitely. Challenging the body in novel ways.
Okay, last area, but fundamental, breath work. Specifically, hyperpassive breath work.
Yeah. This focuses on pelvic health. Really important, especially as we age, but often overlooked. Addresses things like prolapse, incontinence, ED, issues worsened by gravity, weak muscles, straining.
And it uses special breathing and exercises.
Exactly. Hypopressive breathing creates a sort of vacuum effect, combined with things like Kegels, inversions, alignment work. The goal is to strengthen that whole pelvic floor structure, improve function, release tightness.
Foundational resilience, basically.
Yeah.
Ben Greenfield recommends Denise Conway's work here.
It's about conscious control over a really critical area.
And then the Othership app for guided breath work.
Huge library, over 300 sessions, well-produced, music, binaural beats. Makes it easy to follow.
Lots of variety, too short daily ones, sleep sessions, even sessions paired with substances or sex.
Yeah, covers a wide range. While the app guides practice, the sources suggest getting foundational knowledge from teachers like Niraj Naik or Josh Trent, too.
And the benefits claimed are broad metabolic health, better exercise tolerance, sleep, even core power transfer for things like kettlebell swings.
Shows how much intentional breathing impacts. It's way more than just relaxation. It's a physiological tool.
Wow. Okay, we have definitely covered a lot of ground. From the nitty-gritty of how muscles work, eccentric, isometric, isokinetic, to this amazing tech applying those principles with incredible precision.
Yeah, things like ARX, tonal, Vitruvian, fast twitch, isochain, then BFR and EMS for boosting recovery and performance.
Efficient training like HI8 and Rehit, with tech like Vasper and Coolmint managing temperature, smart bikes optimizing intensity.
And finally, realizing the power in something as fundamental as breath work for pelvic health, core power, and more.
It's really clear the fitness world is moving towards smarter training, not just harder training, using science and tech.
Blending biology and innovation.
So, wrapping up, what does this all mean for you, the listener? Maybe it sparks an idea about adding eccentric focus to avoid nagging injuries, or perhaps isometric holds could be your key to new strength.
Or maybe the sheer efficiency of something like Rehit, or the portability of tech like the Isokinator or a mobile EMS suit, finally makes consistent training feel achievable in a busy life.
Or maybe it's recognizing that something like conscious breath work isn't just woo-woo, but can have real tangible effects on your health and performance.
The sources give us all these individual pieces, these tools and techniques.
But here's maybe the most interesting thought to leave you with. What happens when you start combining these? When the science of eccentric loading meets the precision of digital resistance? Or when you use breath work to enhance core stability during isometrics? Or maybe use BFR strategically after a tough HIA session?
The sources lay out the building blocks. The real aha moment might come when you figure out how to put those blocks together in a way that works specifically for your goals. That's the next level deep dive.